All right. Haven't done a podcast in about a week, but I'm sorry about that. But I'm riding through Ames, Iowa, which is where I've been before doing a podcast. Must be just like a podcast type area. We got a couple of subjects. Some I can't do without Rebecca here, but I could definitely do some that are on the list. Then a couple of things to talk about. Like I was just listening to Ed Sheeran, I guess is how you say his name, and he covered a song by Foy Vance. It's called "Make It Rain," and it's probably one of the greatest, like bluesy sounding songs that I've heard in a long time. And well, I mean, other than obviously Gary Clark Jr., but it's two different sounds. But it just sounds so good. And when Ed Sheeran covered it, obviously when you cover a song, you hear the original, and you kind of turn the original into what would you would call like rough draft. I mean, this is obviously Foy Vance's original, not original, but it's originally his song, and that's how he wanted it, performed. But with Ed Sheeran, he took that as, this is a starting point. So he even made the song even better. So if you ever get a chance, go, even pause this, I don't care. But go look up Ed Sheeran, "Make It Rain." And that is a song written and performed by Foy Vance. If you'd like to listen to both versions, it's fucking amazing. I love it. It's kind of a down blues song, but what blues song isn't really? But anyway, I wanted to play some background music on the live podcast because I don't want any dead space. It was just an idea, possibly, maybe. We'll see how it goes. Lately, I've been doing exercises every time I stop. I'm a truck driver, so every time I stop, I'll run for like a quarter mile and then lift some weights. And just started doing that. I guess I'll get back to you on the results of that. But it's kind of nice. Keeps you in a positive mood. And I would suggest that, everybody tells you to exercise, and immediately you start thinking that you're going to be completely worn down and all this other shit. That's not even really what, people that exercise are saying. They're just saying get a little bit more mobility in your life. Like, for instance, if you want to have fun with it, think about what I was going to do this weekend, but I got to go pick up my son. But if I wasn't picking up my son this weekend, then I would definitely go do this. I was going to get some tactical gear, get a rucksack. If you don't know what that is, look it up. But it's got, hip pads so you can carry extra weight on your back. It's also slightly waterproof and really durable. But anyway, and I was talking about military grade, not some fancy ass fucking frou-frou rucksack. That people that think they're fucking tough use, I want the 30-pound fucking rucksack, empty. And I was going to use that to pack up a tent, one can of food, a flotation device, and a hand pump to pump it up, and a number of other things. And I was going to pack it all in there. And I was going to do a day-and-a-half trip. We got this river that runs through St. Cloud, not the Mississippi, but like a branch of it. But we went down it. Went down a 7-hour chaotic, river run last weekend, which was amazing. And we went down it with let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us, and we all kind of tied our rafts together, except for the one gooftard, Ian. He is always a free spirit, but so he takes off and does his own thing. But meanwhile, we're laughing at him because he's not exactly a Davy Jones type guy. I think this is the name, like the guy, roll up your pants legs and and clear a river. But we were all drinking. It was just a good time. But yeah, I was gonna do that and pack up the rucksack, get some tactical gear, maybe carry a weapon or two. And I got these giant magnets that I got tied to a rope, and I was gonna pull whatever's magnetic on the bottom of the river out and see what they got down there. You know, maybe people lost stuff, necklaces, or something of that nature. And I was going to ruck march to the head of the river and get my flotation device out, pump it up, and put the pump back in the rucksack. Make sure the rucksack's like completely waterproof. And I was gonna float down the river and drag that magnet along the way and see what I could find, and get to the end of the river, which is definitely a 7-hour run, depending on whether how long it's been since it rained. And you know, if it rains, obviously the river runs about 10 mile an hour faster. So maybe catch it on a rainy day, get a little exciting, and you know, go down that river, and at the end of the river, jump off and set up camp right there and camp overnight, pack everything up the next day, and then ruck march home. And I thought that'd be a really fun idea. But yeah. So that's another form of exercise, is what I was getting at earlier. And another thing I wanted to tell you guys that I tried to mention on one of my failed podcasts because we ran out of material. We had like a podcast writer's block, but yeah, a couple weeks ago. But one of the things I wanted to tell you guys, and I was trying to tell you then, solo podcasting. I do all of this myself. I don't have the little computer nerd that hangs out with me. You know what I'm saying? If you listen to any other podcast, there's always one person in the background that runs the show. Not the actual person that does a podcast like myself. Most people, I mean, if you go look at any other podcast, I'm not going to name any, but just any other podcast, you'll find that, you know, there's a computer tech guy that does all the marketing and twists and turns and everything computer related, even sometimes tweets for the podcaster, and just he does everything, and isn't really part of the show, he or she. So, I need to get some fuel. I was just gonna let you guys know that if the quality isn't perfect, it's because I do everything myself. So that's that, I guess. So if it takes me a little while to put out material, it's because, you know, I'm actually editing and marketing and uploading and all that stuff, and it's all me. So if you have any complaints, definitely let me know, because there's nobody else to let know. Had a little issue, and I'm going to keep this as anonymous as possible. Me and Rebecca have been dating for, something like going on 3 months or something like that. And it seems like a lot longer, not in a bad way, in a good way. Like it feels like we know each other really well. But some ex-girlfriends have been trying to add Rebecca and trying to ruin what we have. Some that I wouldn't even expect to do so, strangely enough. But yeah, there's a lot of ex-girlfriends that are really upset that I have found happiness. Now, another thing I wanted to talk to you about in that situation is, and I'm going to read this, hang on. What I've written down here is I'll explain to you. It's never her that's the problem. It's either him or his new girlfriend. Now, this is the female ego. All right? Here is what's going on. No, this is not what's going on. This is an example of something that could go on. whenever, and there's probably girls listening to this, and you might even be one of them, but let's say you and a guy are dating, and all hell breaks loose, and you guys fight to the fucking death, and then break up. All right? And fight to the death is metaphoric, not real, not literally. But you run into a problem where you think he's the problem, or he thinks you're the problem. I'm speaking to the females. But mostly she thinks you're the problem, and a lot of the times you think you're the problem, guys. Well, now when that breakup does happen, and you move on, like I have, I'm not really putting myself in this scenario, but I am part of it. It's happened to me. That's why I bring it up. But when you move on and you find somebody else, and suddenly, through all that fighting and trying to learn the person that you're with, you meet somebody new, and you apply everything that you have taught yourself or have learned throughout the fighting process of everything that that ex-girlfriend didn't like, and you apply all that to the new girl that you're dating, and she thinks that you're amazing, and it's really confusing because your ex thinks you're a fucking shitty person and you're the reason why you broke up. It's amazing. And that new girl just makes you feel wonderful, and you make her feel wonderful. Well, so what does that tell you, you know? I mean, it tells you that your ex is the problem, right? I mean, you just add, 1 and 1 equals 2. If you think about it, that your ex is the one that ruined everything, So you're happy with your new girl. I'm sorry that I'm using genders here, but just stick with me. So your ex-girl thinks that you were the problem. Oh, sorry. Your ex-girl thinks that you were the problem, and you thought you were the problem. Then you find out you weren't the problem, and she was the problem, right? And so what does she do? If she contacts you, which mine haven't, she'll tell you that she's still not the problem. She still thinks she's not the problem and that you were. And then, but you look at your new girlfriend and you say, but look, she thinks that I'm great, and I think that she's great. Well, your ex will still say, look, you're the problem. And if she doesn't think so, she's an idiot for not seeing that you're the problem. Your ex-girlfriend will never understand that she's the problem. And that's the female ego. And that could also go for males. I mean, it could go for either way. But that's typically how the female ego shows its fucking dirty head. And so I'll read that back to you. It's never her that's the problem. It's either him or his new girlfriend. So I wrote that down, and I thought that was a pretty powerful message. I mean, for people that are going through bad breakups, that are really confused about who's actually the fucking problem or what the hell's going on. I mean, if you're happy with your new girl, then obviously you weren't the problem. And she's going to tell you you still were the problem, and you're not. You're honestly not. You're happy, let it go. Another thing I wrote down, I'll read it off to you. Perfection is created and manifested, not discoverable. So, by this meaning, the meaning behind this was, me and Rebecca are looking at houses, and a lot of you, maybe the younger generation more so than any other, but if you're looking for a house, and this is going to be like an example you could use with anything else, any other subject, but this is the example that I came up with it from. And if you're looking for a house, don't look for the best house and buy the best house. Don't buy the perfect house. I mean, you can apply this to your relationships and everything, but don't buy the perfect house. That's not how you get the perfect house. Because when you buy the perfect house, there's going to be something a little bit different, little something that you need to change. So, perfection isn't discovered; it's created. Buy a house that is the foundation of what you want, and from that point, you need to move forward and build what you think is the perfect house. And you can apply this to a relationship too. It's like, you're not going to immediately find the perfect relationship. It's not going to jump out at you and be like, oh, that's it, I win. That's not how it works. And that's not ever how it'll work. Um, you have to start off um, happy with yourself, the foundation. And then you have to start off, attracted to the person that you're with. I mean, obviously, you got to work out the details, you know. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. You got to build the perfect relationship. You got to take your time and understand that there's differences, and you have to change yourself, both of you do, so that you can work out the details and understand that, what you got is what you got, what she got is what she's got, and you got your differences, and understanding them and accepting them is what part of the message in that is. It's just that nothing is discovered as perfection. I mean, you can't discover perfection. The last thing I wanted to leave you with, and it's a lot funnier than all those other subjects, is yoga pants, or what I would like to call fart filters. Girls and some guys, yoga pants. Do you realize that fabric catches scents? Every time you fart in a pair of yoga pants, it is permanent until you wash them. So, yoga pants, visual, great. Scent? Probably not. Probably not. And females are the majority who wear them, and females have other scents that happen in that area and farts. And it just, if you're going to go on a date or something and like something may happen, just don't fucking wear yoga pants. And every time I see a girl in yoga pants, I don't think, oh, look at that booty. I think, oh, God, like, has she been wearing those all day? Because that's probably rank. All right. Y'all have a good day. By the way, my girl doesn't wear yoga pants. Bye.